Our guest tonight is WWE superstar and author Austin Aries. How you doing?
I'm doing good, gentlemen. How's everybody?
We're fantastic. We got you on the line, man. Very excited, very excited. Your new book, Food Fight, My Plant-Powered Journey from the Bingo Halls to the Big Time, begins shipping on June 9th. Why did you feel now was the right time to write this book, and what are you hoping to accomplish with its release?
Well, I actually started the project a couple of years back, and it really kind of was born from the number of questions I would receive from fans, from family and friends about my dietary choices, my plant-based diet, what led me to the decision, where do I get my protein, is it difficult, is it expensive? Really, there was this kind of reoccurring theme of questions that people would have, and I just felt like by writing a book, it would give people a little bit of a background of where I came from, my food journey, and how I ended up being completely plant-based.
Well, as someone myself who loves eating meat and never really considered veganism, and that's a big part of the book, you talk about how someone who never considered it, this is the book for them. What are some of the benefits to the lifestyle, and what are some of the challenges you have faced being a vegan?
Well, so I think it's important, like this book isn't about trying to turn people vegan or plant-based. That's where my food journey led me. I think really the message I want people to take away from the book is just about informing yourself about the food choices we do have. Where does our food come from? What's in it? Is it good for us? Who's making money on it? And is that the same message telling us that we need to eat it every day to be healthy? That journey of just kind of peeling back the layers and finding out and more about what I call the corporate food system has led me now to be plant-based, because that was what my decision was after figuring these things out. But for someone like you who likes to eat meat, I'm not going to tell you stop eating meat. But I do say, like, implementing a bit of a plant-based diet into your lifestyle certainly couldn't hurt, right? Doesn't mean that you go 100% or all the way. The challenge is really, I think, first and foremost, is just the knowledge, right? And everything that's in front of you, for the most part, when you walk into a supermarket or when you look at your food options, if you're on the road like I am, aren't really great, So once you kind of figure out what you're looking for, then you figure out where to find it. And that really just comes from dedication and deciding that your food and your diet is something that's important to you.
Mike Chiari, next question.
Having wrestled both as a vegan and before you became vegan, how do you feel it's helped change you as a performer? Well,
so I went vegetarian back in 2000. That was really when right around the time I started training. So I don't know that I felt a big difference, because, again, my transition from being vegetarian to then being completely plant-based with no dairy, no eggs, and no meat was a slow transition, right? It was probably over 12 years. So by the time I really kicked the dairy and the eggs, it wasn't a big change for me, right? Because I already been doing the vegetarian thing for so long. It was just kind of replacing things like whey protein with plant-based protein. Getting rid of eggs, maybe start eating more like tofu scrambles. But I will say, and I know a lot of guys and girls in the locker room now, some of them are starting to switch over to kind of plant-based protein powders anyway, because they just say they feel better afterwards. They don't feel bloated, or they don't feel a little lethargic, or whatever the case might be. It's not as heavy. So, I think overall, I think that I feel better because I've had a predominantly plant-based lifestyle for my whole career. And I think that's why now, after 17 years, I'm still able to perform at a high level and really still do all the things I was doing 10 or 15 years ago.
Brandon Gavin, next question.
Well, you've been on your diet for so long, as you said, but do you find it difficult to maintain your diet while you're on the road so much? And also, do you have any cheat days or meals? And if so, what is your preferred cheat meal?
I think if you're trying to be mindful of eating well on the road, it's going to be difficult no matter what, right? Because your choices at, midnight or 1 o'clock, or some of these smaller towns when we're getting out of shows aren't going to be the best choices for eating healthy, no matter what your dietary, choices or restrictions are. So I think the important part is always being prepared, right? Like, I always try to carry some stuff with me that if I can't find some food around me, I'm not stuck in a bad position of having to make a choice, right? So I think the hardest part is the dedication to it. But once you, I think, like anything else, once you decide it's important to you, it becomes easier to do because you're invested in it. And what was the second part of your question?
Do you have any cheat meals? And if so, what your preferred cheat meal is?
I love pizza, and I say like it's kind of cool because I feel like I have a little more leeway to cheat more often because even bad like vegan food is probably not as bad as the alternative. So even like a vegan pizza, I can still eat a healthier version of a pizza, and it still feel like I'm cheating, but not completely like jumping off, into the deep end, so to speak. So yeah, I like that. I like waffles, but even that, I like nice food. I think I kind of say in my book, like some people like nice cars or nice clothes or a nice house, and I like that stuff, but I like nice food. So I'll spend a little more money on quality, nice food as opposed to the cheapest, easiest, fastest stuff.
Well, switching gears here a little bit toward wrestling, we spoke to you a few times during your run with TNA, but we haven't spoken to you since you joined WWE. What was the signing process like for you, and how have you enjoyed your time thus far in WWE?
The signing process can be a little drawn out, obviously from like initial contact of just, finding if there's interest or them let me know there was interest, and then having some meetings and talking about where you fit in, what the opportunity is. And then, being such a large entity, there's a lot of paperwork and stuff involved, background checks. And so it's a drawn out process, but, it's well worth it, obviously, because once you get there, it's the pinnacle of what we do. So, I have been fortunate to perform for lots of different companies and different promotions all over the place. But at the end of the day, this is the top of the iceberg, and to finally, achieve that after my journey, was rewarding and just also created a whole new opportunity for me, in front of a larger fan base and people who maybe don't know anything about Austin Aries. And here's the opportunity for them to find out.
Mike Carey?
You had a great feud against Neville with amazing match after amazing match, but now that it seems like Neville might be transitioning into other programs, do you at all have an eye toward moving out of the Cruiserweight division and pursuing other titles, or are you focused on continuing to help build the Cruiserweight division?
Right now I think I'm kind of I'm at a point where I'm just kind of reflecting and trying to figure out what my next move is, right? I obviously put a lot of energy and focus into capturing the Cruiserweight Championship. I obviously didn't get the job done. And so I'm not really sure what my next move is. I think right now I'm going to take a step back, see the landscape in front of me and figure out where I fit in best moving forward.
Brendan Gavin?
Well, your matches with Neville have been some of my most anticipated and favorite of the year. How did you feel about those matches, and did you receive any praise backstage from management or your peers?
We've gotten a lot of really positive feedback from a number of people back there whose opinions I hold very high. I think Neville, obviously he's at a different level right now. Like he really has, and he's really rejuvenated. I've enjoyed competing with him in there. I think we've got a lot of the same chip on our shoulder. We're out there to kind of prove the same thing to the same people likely. And we just have maybe a little difference of opinion on how you get there right now, but I mean, if you really look, our beef, so to speak, just to use a totally bad pun for a vegan, but was really just based around respect, right? Respect we don't feel we get. It wasn't really that, and I hate to say it's cliche, like it was really nothing personal with us as much as it was. It was just two real stubborn, competitive dudes going out there trying to prove who's the best. And I'll tip my hat to him. Like right now, he's at a different level physically. He's in his prime, and he's found something in this reincarnation of himself that is taking him to a new level. So I just got to tip my hat to him. And I think that I've liked to consider myself a measuring stick at points in my career, and I matched up with him 3 times, and he measured up each and every time to each and every inch.
Mike Chiari?
While you were out injured, you did commentary for the Cruiserweight division on Raw and 205 Live, and I thought you were absolutely great. And it led me to wonder if you'd have any interest in potentially becoming a full-time commentator down the line once your wrestling career is over.
Yeah, I think I had a lot of fun doing that. It was a new opportunity for me. I learned a lot. Got to work with some cool people that maybe I wouldn't have had the chance to work with. Just being an in-ring competitor, and and a lot of respect for what those guys do. There's a lot going on that people don't know about in those headsets and stuff that those guys are trying to manage while they're also kind of narrating the story. So, I think at a certain point, when the time's right, if that opportunity is there for me, it's definitely something I'd like to pursue.
I do miss your package. A little off topic, but I do miss your package just a bit.
I get a lot of DMs about that. People just DM me miss my package.
Don't we all? No, we don't.
No, we don't. We certainly do not. Brandon Govan, final question?
Well, the three of us don't agree on much, but one thing we often reference still as being an incredible moment was your heel turn on No Way Jose in NXT. Do you recall how that came about, and do you look back on it as fondly as we do?
Probably one of my favorite moments. Probably one of my favorite dance moves I ever pulled off was the slick spin into the forearm on top of the commentary's table. I think my favorite part was I strung everybody along just long enough for everyone to think, oh, he's gonna hit him, right? He's gonna hit him. Oh, okay, maybe he's not. I guess he's not gonna hit him. Oh, I really thought he was gonna hit him. I guess he's not gonna. Oh, he just hit him. Oh, and that to me was the beauty of it. Was just playing with the puppet strings just long enough to where people thought it wasn't going to happen, even though they all knew it's going to happen, right? It's got to happen, and then it did.
Well, a huge thank you to Austin Aries. Check out his new book, Food Fight, My Plant-Powered Journey from the Bingo Halls to the Big Time. Available for pre-order now on AustinAriesBook.com, and they will begin shipping on June 9th. Tell the fans where else they can support you.
Yeah, I think the easiest way is just follow my social media, Twitter at Austin Aries. I'm on Instagram at Austin Healy, Healy, Aries. And, just keep in tune there, and we'll be announcing some stuff coming up with hopefully some book signings in some towns near you.
Another huge thank you to Austin Aries. Good luck moving forward, sir.
Thank you, gentlemen. Enjoy the rest of your day.